What name do you want me to call you?
Sly would do. I haven't went by Silvester in several years, actually. I mean, my real name is Silvester. And this kind of goes into the whole journey and everything. My real name is Silvester, but I haven't been Silvester in about 8 years now. No, more like 9 years. For the past 9 years, I've went by Sly, and that's just when I the interesting thing about going from city to city or new community to new community is the fact that you get this chance to reinvent yourself
That's true.
to a certain degree. You know, your core values, what you care about, what you value, stays the same. You know, but
Hmm.
there's these little attributes that you can pick up along the way. And so when I went to College Station, when I was enrolled at Texas A&M to pursue my master's degree, I was at a freshman orientation party. The music was really loud, and I kept saying, people were saying, "Well, who are you? What's your name?" And I kept saying Sylvester, and they were just, they couldn't hear me correctly, and they would go Sebastian, I'm like, no, Sylvester, still something, and I'm like, no, Sylvester. I'm like, you know what, Sly, just call me Sly. And then as the party progressed, it was, have you met Sly? Oh yeah, I just got done talking to Sly. And the next thing I know, this legend of a Sly continued to grow. It's and ever since then, it's what I go by. Very few people call me by my real name, and those that do call me by my real name are people that know me or knew me since before 2009. It's a tricky, it's a slippery slope, to be honest with you, because you can reinvent yourself to the point that you forget who you are, or you can reinvent yourself so many times that you forget what you care about, you know.
Right.
And so as I've journeyed from Phoenix to College Station to I think back to Houston, and as I get ready to do another journey at the completion of this degree, you know, there's very few people. I keep a very close circle around me to always maintain that core value, that core, who am I at my core, stripped of my degree, stripped of what people may call me, who am I as a person? And it's worked ever since.
Okay. All right. I like that. So tell me about Sly. Tell me about just you growing up and your experiences and when you decided that. How did you know that you were a very intelligent person?
You know, unfortunately, I didn't know. I didn't know. You know, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, specifically South Phoenix, Arizona, and I grew up in all my education is public school. You know, public elementary, public high school, public university for my bachelor's, master's, and PhD. And growing up at a public elementary on the poor side of town, there really weren't programs that identified gifted students. So for me, I've been able to go back and actually review some of my records, some of my educational documents. I was given the opportunity, I believe, in fourth grade to skip a couple grades, actually, to go from fourth instead of going into the fifth grade. I had the chance to go to the seventh grade because that's how high my test scores were placing me. But that was the only real verbal confirmation that there was something academically stronger in me than other students.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time, both the community that I grew up in, but also the time that I was growing up in, it was not being academically superior, academically sound was not the high priority. High priority was staying alive. I mean, I'm talking about the middle of gang warfare. I'm talking about the middle of, you know, Bloods versus Crips. I'm talking about the beginning of, not the beginning, but when police brutality really became an issue following the Rodney King incident and really being able to point the finger at brutality of powerful organizations such as the police. So for me, growing up, being academically smart was not an issue. It was all about what tools and what skills that I had to escape my neighborhood. And at that time, it was all about sports. I was a great athlete, and it was the promise that my mom had. It was the hope that my parents had, specifically my mom, that sports wise, that will be my trip to a university. That will be a trip to my education. Um, and it was around in high school that I figured out I was good at sports, but that's not what I wanted to do. And I was able to recognize very early on, if I do my homework, if I go to class, I can get free tuition to keep going to school. Oh crap, that's what I'm going to do. And to me, it was just simple. Just do what you need to do. You're going to get rewarded, and you're going to keep progressing. And fortunately, that's what I've been able to do.
Okay, all right. So, what was the first university that you attended?
First university that I attended was University of Hawaii at Hilo in summer of 1997. In 1994, I joined this program called Upper Bound. And Upper Bound is a federally funded program through the Department of Education, which targets first-gen and low-income students. Their focus is to increase the number of enrollment, persistence, and graduates of students identified as first-gen and low-income. In my junior year, I was given the opportunity to do a bridge program at a university of my choosing, which was going to be UC Berkeley, Arizona State University, or University of Hawaii at Hilo. And doing a bridge program there meant that I got dual college and high school credit. And my thinking was, I was already familiar with Arizona State University because that was in my backyard in Phoenix. That's where I actually started to get tutoring and mentoring very early on at Arizona State. Then UC Berkeley was eliminated because I said it's California and I can go to California at any time. And so for me, the chance to go to Hawaii for a whole summer was a great reward. And I said, but it was going to challenge me. And I really pinpoint that experience changed who I am today. In the fact that I was taken from my inner city, South Side, predominantly Mexican and Black community, and I was put on an island where people like me didn't exist. And I say people that like me, people that were biracial, people that grew up poor, or as I identified as biracial, poor, South Side living, didn't exist. But the funny and interesting thing was when I went to Hawaii, I found out that a lot of people looked like me. This is when I used to have very long hair down to my waist, And so when I got off the plane, I looked Hawaiian, and people thought I was Hawaiian. And so very early on, I was able to identify that there were characteristics that I exhibited that allows me to transition from one community to another. Had I been, full Black, like my cousins, with different hair texture or different skin tone, would I have been able to transition that well into their culture and their community? I don't know. But I knew certain physical traits and attributes that I had, and I used them to my advantage to really transition and have a great time. But being away from my family, being away from my friends, being away from my community, and studying in a whole different place really challenged me and pushed me to really understand there's more to my block in this world. There's more than, the 3-mile radius that I call my community. And there's nothing wrong with doing and saying something different. And that's really what made me say, when I come back my senior year, when I come back my freshman year in college, it's going to be something that nobody in my family has done before.
Right. Okay. So when did you decide that you wanted to get your bachelor's degree, and then, of course, you want to get your bachelor's degree, then get your master's, and then you got your doctorate, and then now you're working towards your PhD? When did you decide you wanted to go all the way?
um, the decision to get my bachelor's was a given. And my
Right.
mom was a single mom who dropped out of college to raise me very early on, and then got divorced, and never had this opportunity to get her bachelor's degree. So the bachelor's degree was always a given. Like, that was always this target above my head. I mean, to me, getting my bachelor's was like saying I'm going to drink some water today. Like, that was just 2 + 2 = 4. That was just a given. And when I got my bachelor's, I actually was living well, was making good money. I was working at Arizona State University, had a good salary. The funny thing is, I was engaged at the time. Maybe 2 years before I left to do my master's, I was engaged, and it was a bad breakup. And my mentors pulled me aside and said, "Your sister has graduated from college," because I raised my sister. So my little sister is 6 years younger than me. She finished her bachelor's degree, and I was 27 at the time. And they came to me and said, "You've done great work. Your sister has graduated. Your mom's in better health. It's time for you to leave." And I thought they were firing me. But they said, "Yes, you've outgrown your community. There's something more out there for you." And they pushed me and said, "We challenge you within a year to apply for graduate school to get your master's." So I said, okay. I had just been engaged, and that broke apart. And I said, why not? Why not really see what else is out there? So I applied for a couple master's programs and ended up at Texas A&M, partly because my grandfather is from Texas. And he passed away right before I began my PhD program here. But he always talked about the state of Texas, and a part of me wanted to make him proud. So I looked originally at Texas Tech, and then I ended up at Texas A&M, where I went to the George Bush School of Government and Public Service, finished my master's degree in 2011. And at that time, when I graduated, I was given 2 opportunities. One was to go to the University of South Florida and complete a PhD, or go to Cornell University and work there. Those same mentors told me, you have to go to Cornell. You have to go to Cornell because Cornell is never going to see someone like you on their campus. You need to go there and do some amazing work, and then the PhD will be there when you're ready. So I began working at Cornell in 2011, and I remember telling my former supervisor, who I'm still good friends with today, I told her straight up, "You have me for 4 years. You have me for one whole graduating class. After that, I'll be leaving to do my PhD." And I think she didn't think I was serious, because I said, it's in 2011 and I'll be leaving in 2015. You had me for 4 years to do some amazing work, so use me, but I will be leaving. Because there is still this promise. There was always this promise I made to my grandmother, who was, my grandmother is Black from Louisiana. And it was always this promise to her that I will become a doctor. And by this time, my grandmother had already passed away. My grandmother passed in 2005, so we're talking about 2011. But that promise was still valid. I gave my grandmother my word I would become a doctor. And a couple more things happened at Cornell University, where my job at Cornell was making sure that students graduated and persisted. But also my job was to pull bodies out of the river. Students that committed suicide, students that were sexual assaulted, students that overdosed. I was a crisis manager handling student trauma across the university. And there were several policies that I wanted to be changed at Cornell. There are several policies that I still want to be changed in higher education, period. Well, to get into those meetings, to get into those scenarios to help craft policy, I need a PhD. Granted, a master's degree is going to give me a great length to extend my career. There's a great return of investment on getting my master's, but to really craft policy, to really set policy making standards that's going to affect students, a PhD, for me at least, a PhD was that avenue to do that. So that, in combination with the promise I made to my grandmother, I said, it's a done deal. We have to apply for graduate school all over again. So 2014, I started with the GRE, taking the standardized tests. I started applying, and that's when I was accepted to three programs: University of Rochester, Arizona State University, and University of Houston. Rochester did not give me a good enough financial aid package. Arizona State was my safe bet, but I've already conquered Arizona State University, both as a student and as a staff. And University of Houston was this brand new territory. It was this brand new place I can go again, reinvent myself, learn about myself, and get my degree. So I'm here. I'm finishing my third year. I'm a doctoral candidate now, which means I have completed all coursework. I've completed all my candidacy phases. And right now, the only thing left to do is to complete my dissertation, which I will be submitting chapters 1 through 3 at the end of this month, chapters 4 and 5 at the end of August, defend and will propose and defend in September, which I'll be granted my degree, and then I will walk in a graduation ceremony in December.
Which I'm going to, by the way. Very well.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be a party. It's going to be a party, and it's one of the reasons why I hit the gym so much, because I will be wearing a WWE Wrestling Championship belt across my waist when I walk across the stage. Like,
really? I'm going to have to be there for that.
I will have a belt that says Dr. Mata going across my waist as I walk across stage. So right now, there's about 20 people coming from all over the country and the world, because some of my family in Mexico are coming up. So it's going to be something special.
Okay. And I know you have to go to a very important meeting, so I'm going to have a few more questions. So when you got your master's, do you go straight into a PhD, or do you have to get a doctorate degree first?
No, when you get your master's, there are some people that continue to go forth straight from their master's to their PhD, and they just keep moving that way. I was 31 when I completed my master's. If I would have completed my PhD, at that same time, if I would have continued on that trend, I would have been 35 with both my bachelor's, master's, and PhD. Which sounds amazing, to be 35 and have all your degrees and you'll be done. But my concern at that time was the number of years I would have been in school would have been more than the number of years I've worked. And one of the things I did not want to do was work hard to get these degrees, but not be able to get employment that pays me for what I'm worth, or actually get a position where I can actually effect change, which is one of the other reasons why when I completed my master's, I went to Cornell, because I looked at my resume, I looked at my work experience, I saw some gaps in that, and I said, where can I go to really expand my resume, but also gain some skills that I can take forth into this PhD process, and then at the end of this process, be able to merge those to really help other students. And that's why I chose to take that break, a 4-year break, go work, get some more skills, and then after that, go get my PhD. Okay. And in fact, it's actually worked out pretty well. Today, I received a call from Texas A&M, the former college that I completed my master's in, called me and said, you're doing some good work. We know what you're doing. We want you to come back and give us a 4-hour training for our students, and then a 2-hour training for our faculty and staff. And I'm like, okay, because they're saying, you've been a student here, you went out and worked, now you complete your PhD, you've been able to dip into all these different worlds and learn from all these different aspects, and really be this reflection that students may see themselves in one day. It also helps that, that's 6 hours at $150 per hour. That's not bad money. And the fact that they're going to pay for my travel and pay me to just come and speak for 6 hours, to speak about something that I love to speak on, and to work with students and really prepare staff and faculty to work with students. So for me, if that is a preview of what's next for my experience and for the horizon for me, I'm excited. I think the ideas and everything that I've tried to do is going to pay off.
Okay, I think so too. And then my last question is kind of a personal question. It's about
Oh boy.
I know your bodybuilding or just your fitness routine. Because a lot of people might think just because you're your PhD that you're not into different things, you're all about education, but they don't know how much you're trying to lift. You told me the other day, what, 425 pounds, that's your goal, and you're just trying to get this I guess a certain goal that you've been trying to reach. So tell us more about your health journey.
Well, there's two reasons why. So I go to the gym. A short session for me at the gym is about 45 minutes to an hour. That's a short session, and usually that's just my biceps and triceps. A regular session is about 2 hours, and then twice a week I go for 3 hours. That's usually when I'm doing three different parts of my body. So two reasons why I do this. And I go to the gym every day of the week. I wanted to set a physical goal that was just as hard to reach as the PhD itself. And for me, it was the bench press. It was a 425-pound bench press, which if you think about how heavy 425 pounds is, it's heavy. I mean, visually, it is four 45-pound plates on each side plus weight on each side. One bench press. It's challenging. It's something I have to be persistent on. It's something I have to research. It's something I have to, take my supplements, drink a lot of water, drink my creatine, eat my protein. It's not as if I can just go to a bench press and do that and walk away. Like I have to build up to it. There's certain benchmarks alongside that. And it's actually very parallel to the point of getting the degree. A PhD is not just you do this number of years, you're given this degree. There are certain benchmarks of you have to get published, you have to go present your papers, you have to present your candidacy paper, you have to pass your candidacy paper, you have to pass all your courses, you have to propose and defend your dissertation, you have to do your committee work, you have to do your portfolio. So there's certain benchmarks that then allows me to propose my final paper and then get my degree. So the process of each is very similar to one another. And so what that does, it allows me to not just sit in my office or not just sit in the library and let my body go to waste. But it also allows me to manage my time a lot better. If I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the gym at 9 o'clock. I leave at 12 o'clock. I come here to my office to about 4 or 5 o'clock. And that gives me the evening to write or apply for jobs. It really allows me to manage my time and my health. And the reason I say my health is because this PhD will bring up a lot of different things that you never knew existed. When you are writing, my dissertation is probably going to be around 200 pages. And that's one paper, five different chapters. It's really a book that you're writing. For some people they get anxiety. For some people they get apprehensive. For some people they fall into depression, depending on what their support circle is around them. And for me, I exhibit high levels of anxiety to the point that for me, if I know that a deadline is coming, if I'm not going to meet the deadline, the anxiety will ramp up and I won't leave my bedroom. And I know this is very early on, and I still deal with this today. But for me, the gym allows me to say, there's an escape out of my apartment. There's an escape out of my bedroom. If I can make it to the gym, if I can get my heart rate up, if I can get myself moving, then I can keep going and be productive during the day. But if I lay in bed and let that anxiety creep up, then I'm going to miss those deadlines. And there have been days where, I will sleep the whole entire day. And I've thought, okay, are you that tired? And it's just the anxiety controlling my body, controlling my mind, and really putting myself in this state of mind saying, you don't need to go anywhere, you just need to stay here. So other people use it as, for me, I use it as a method of coping my anxiety. Instead of taking, any over-the-counter medicine or, prescription, it's more of a holistic approach of dealing with anxiety. The dangerous part about it is that anything can be a drug. Spending can be a drug. The gym, eating, anything can be a drug. So I'm very mindful if I start to show any addictive behavior to the gym, to the point that if I don't go to the gym, I feel like I'm lost. Or if I don't go to the gym, I start, self doubt or crashing. If I don't make it to the gym for the amount of time I need to, I'll do a home workout. I'll do my push ups or my body squats or my lunges. For me, it's just no matter what, get the body moving in some way, somehow. Even if I have to walk around my apartment complex 5 times just to get outside, just to get some sunlight, get some vitamin D, to get moving. But my home is in the gym. I mean, people know me when I walk through the door and they say, "Oh crap, Sly's here."
Okay. All right. Well, Sly, I just want to thank you for doing this on-camera interview.